Ladies and gentlemen, Chaz Broganzo here. What's next? One story that I haven't touched upon, or actually one person I haven't touched upon, would be one Barack Hussein Obama. Yes, the former president of the United States, the 44th president of these United States, who I would say over the last several months since the election has gone on a Slam the Whooite People tour. And we're going to take a look at one story in particular. Shall we? This comes out of Breitbart. Obama, certain right-wing media monetizing stoking fears of white Americans. Yes. As you see there, it's Cooper Anderson. Former President Barack Obama said Monday during an interview with CNN's Anderson Cooper that certain right-wing media venues were monetizing stoking fears of white Americans. Cooper said, looking back as president, did you tell the story of race in America enough, do you think? Obama, I'm sure after several minutes of thinking, yeah, well, look, I tried. You would think that would be like a full stop, but no. I think I told a lot of stories. You take a look at the speeches I gave in Selma and the speech I gave during the campaign. Excuse me. About Reverend Wright. Oh, there's a classic. And that episode, and each and every time I try to describe why is it that we are still not fully reconciled with our history, but the fact is, it's a hard thing to hear. It's hard for the majority of this country of white Americans to recognize that, look, you can be proud of this country and its traditions, its history, our forefathers, and yet it's also true that this terrible stuff happened, that lingers and continues. Obama said, I also think that there are certain right-wing media venues, for example, that monetize and capitalize on stoking the fear and resentment of white population that is witnessing a changing America and seeing demographic changes and do everything they can to give people a sense of that their way of life is being threatened and that people are trying to take advantage of them. He also added, we're seeing it right now. Well, you would think that with all the public policy debates that are taking place right now, that the Republican Party will be engaged in a significant debate about how we are going to deal with the economy and what we're going to do about climate change. Of course, the flavor of the day right now, and what we're going to do about this. Lo and behold, the single most important issue to them apparently right now is critical race theory. Who knew that that was a threat to our republic? And just watch a little bit of the video.
In his book, he writes that early on in his presidential campaign, his advisors warned him about being boxed in as, quote, the black candidate.
Looking back, as president, did you tell the story of race in America enough, do you think?
Yeah, well, look, I tried. I think I told a lot of stories. You take a look at the speeches I gave in Selma and the speech I gave during the campaign about Reverend Wright and that whole episode. And, each and every time I tried to describe why it is that we are still not fully reconciled with our history. But the fact is that it is a hard thing to hear.
All right. My thoughts. Obama's a clown. Sadly. He's become a shell of what he once was. As anybody knows anything about history, presidential history, is that Obama was always in campaign mode. He was always someone who was always constantly, the hope, the change, turned out to be very little hope and some change in your pocket. When it came to race, and his talks about race, when you have those like Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton visit the White House, what seemed to be like on a daily basis, Reverend Wright, who Chickens Come Home to Roost, became infamous on, his Black Liberation Church, turned out to be a racist church. And yet, Obama and Michelle were in that church for 20 years. And it didn't take until the campaign for him to kind of sort of dance around denouncing Wright. He allowed Ferguson to burn. He allowed Baltimore to burn, and basically slammed the Cambridge Police Department regarding his friend who was trying to get home one night. And of course, the neighbor thought that somebody was breaking in, called the cops. And then he called the Cambridge police, quote, acted stupidly before all the facts came out. But Obama was always known for that, to jump the gun and basically jump to conclusions before all the facts and evidence presented itself. But then again, that's Barack Obama. And pretty much in a nutshell, one of the worst presidents in history. He was considered the worst. He surpassed Jimmy Carter. But now it seems like President Dementia has just taken that to new levels of stupidity, ignorance, and clownery. And with that being said, I'm Jez Gonzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more videos just like this? Please leave a comment below, like it, share it, subscribe to it. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.